Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Always Moving podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lyndon Suvanto, and this is episode 3. Who'd have thought we'd made it this far? Before I get started to what kind of sparked the idea for this episode, I just want to say to everyone giving me a hard time about my Baltimore Ravens getting absolutely pumped on Monday Night Football. It's going to be all right. I'm not concerned. We are still one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. So, Chiefs fans out there, and more importantly, guys in my fantasy league who are giving me all kinds of shit this week about it, we'll be back. I have no doubts, no reservations about that. So, this is perfect time. Write us off, and then we'll see. We'll see how well this episode ages, and I'll be getting the last laugh. So, other than that, I hope everyone's doing well. The moment that sparked the idea for this podcast came when I was at the gym the last time. So I was in the change room and in the dressing room, change out of my street clothes and go into what I'm going to wear during the workout. So I put it on. I have a Alberta Handball jersey, short sleeve Hummel, black and purples. Richie, those guys, they all know what it is. So I have the Alberta Handball shirt on, and the shorts I got as with Team Canada. So I looked in the mirror and I saw it, and then it just kind of sparked something. And then this flow of emotion and nostalgia and all these different emotions came flooding in. And it got me thinking what these teams meant to me and what they still mean to me. And then the tremendous successes I've had, and more importantly, the failures that I've been through and I've learned from. So I'm looking in the mirror, I see myself in the clothes, and then since I've been practicing lately with the Alberta team, this kind of ties into me looking in the mirror. Been practicing with the Alberta team, and one of the practices recently, one of the younger guys, I think he's on the U19 team, he said people were all asking each other's ages, and then when they found out that I was quite a bit older than them, one of the players asked, "Lyndon, how does it feel being 10 years older than I am?" And at first I just played it off. It's just playful banter, and then I'm like, feels pretty damn good, I'm still out here, I'm still kicking. But then I thought about it further on the drive home, and I think being in that spot, being 10 years older than the guys coming up now, brought me back to when I was starting out. And it was Richie and Alex and Mike Ney and all the guys who helped me along the way. And I thought, how do I feel about being 10 years older than everyone else? I feel pretty good, because I think maybe the stuff I've experienced I can pass on, and I can help the younger generation come up. And then when they get 10 years older than the next one, they can pass on things they learned. Maybe they learned one thing from me. Maybe they learned one thing from another guy. You pick something up along the way from everybody. So when this guy asked me this question, I didn't really know how to react, but thinking on it, I thought, you know what? I like the position I'm in. I'm old balls now. I'm the steady veteran training with the young kids, hanging on to dear life for for his playing career, because we all know on-way people, once they hit 29, their joints just seize up. Back is, it's like a bag of mashed potatoes. It's all gone. So with that in mind, and the 10-year age gap between some of the guys I'm training with, and seeing myself in the mirror with the Alberta team and the Canada team gear on, it got me thinking, what was the best moment? Because right now, things are less than ideal with the national team, and I don't really know what my future holds or where we're going to be in a year from now or what's going to happen. Um, it's pretty frustrating. It seems the current people in charge don't really give a shit about the players, and unfortunately, it's my generation that are going to be, I guess, sacrificed for what seems like certain people's personal agendas. But that's time for another story. That's just a little sampler. So, anywho, I was thinking, what's what's the greatest memory I have, or what's the moment I was most proud of, or what's the most unforgettable moment? And as I said earlier, I've had some terrible losses and regretful performances on and off the court. But at the same time, I've achieved a lot. I've set goals for myself in the sport, and I've accomplished damn near everything I could that I set out to be. Am I top 5 goalie in the world? No. Top 10 maybe. No, just kidding. So you might, if you know me or you know what I've done with the sport, you maybe have an idea what I'm going to say. I played abroad. I've played in with clubs in 3 different countries over 6 years. I've played in over 20 countries with the national team and provincial team. I've been to Brazil and Greece, and we went to Argentina and Greenland and the US or what have you. So these are all great memories, and honestly, they're all unforgettable. We in 2011, I made it to the World Championships with the junior team, the Canadian national junior team. In 2015, I was part of the Pan Am Games squad that represented Team Canada at home in Toronto during the Pan Am Games. If you don't know what the Pan Am Games are, they're essentially like the Olympics for North and South America, Central America. And that was an incredible experience. And that's one of the accomplishments I'm the most proud of is we made that team, because after the 2011 Junior Worlds, the coaches and staff that were with us, they said, you guys are going to be that next step. Like, you guys are the generation that's going to help develop the sport and push it further and go from here. So over the next 4 years, everybody that wanted to make that team, they attended camps around the world. They attended camps within Canada, exhibition games. We went to Mexico. We had camps in France. And for myself, there were several goalies that have been in Pan Am Games before me, guys I looked up to coming up, and this was the time I had to compete against the guys who taught me stuff, or that I used as markers. Like, if I want to get anywhere, I got to surpass this guy, then I got to surpass this guy, then I got to go there. So the Pan Am Games, I remember I got the email saying that I made the team before Canada Day in 2015, and I went to a fireworks display in Sherwood Park, Alberta. And as the fireworks are going off and the Canadian anthem is playing for Canada Day, and there's all these people singing "O Canada," it was this overwhelming feeling, like the 4 years of everything we went through, all the hard work, the sacrifice, the camps, and all these people were singing "O Canada," and I was just there. They had no idea who I was. They didn't know I was going to be representing them in an international tournament, international games. They had no idea, but at that moment, the anthem's playing, fireworks are going off, and I was just overcome with joy and excitement and nerves and pride that I teared up, and it was one of the few times I ever teared up. Well, probably the only time I teared up with the national anthem playing. And it's dark. It's obviously dark because there's fireworks. And I'm just kind of trying to act cool because I was with a girl I liked at the time, and trying to act tough, Oh, it's just I'm just so damn proud of the country, but I was proud of what I accomplished. But the Pan Am Games was not actually my biggest achievement or my most unforgettable moment. I got to phrase this better. My most unforgettable moment with handball. It wasn't going abroad, getting paid to play, meeting world-class players along the way, playing against great nations who've achieved a lot, making friends. The most important thing I think that's come from sport, or from handball and myself, has been the friendships I've made. Because almost all my closest friends here I met all of them through handball. We all come from different backgrounds and different age groups, but handball brought us all together and unified us. And I've shared unforgettable moments with guys from Sherwood Park and Edmonton, but not just there, but guys from Quebec and Saskatchewan, Manitoba. We shared these moments, we fought together, and just that brings you together. So the friendships I made, the family within handball, family and friendships have been the greatest thing to ever come out of the sport. But now I will tell you the most unforgettable moment I've ever had, thanks to handball. So it ties back to Pan Am Games. So there's 5 of us, 5 goalies competing for 2 roster spots for Pan Am Games. And it was all guys older than me. I was the youngest goalie in contention to make the team. I knew pressure was on. We had no idea who was going to make it. So every friendly match we would play, you played your ass off, or every goal you let in was just that a nail being hammered into your coffin, sending you home. So we went, and I would say the defining moment for myself in the tryouts was we played a team from France, Besançon. They came to Montreal, and we played some games against them, and I played one half, and I was on fire. I don't know why. I was just one of my finest performances in a game. And there's this tall, bald pivot from the team, and he was so big, and you could tell he thought he was just better than everybody. And then I was eating him up, and to finish my half of play, I made a save with the top of my face, and I feel like when I made that face save, because it was a shot where I went out and I put my head into the way to make the save. Because as I tell the young goalies, your face is just another foot, just another hand. Use it. If you want to make the save, use it. So when I made the save on this tall pivot right before the half ended, I hit in the face, made the save, and it just felt like, I did it. Everything I set out to do, that one face save, I felt is what got me selected to the team. So eventually I did get the email that I made the team, and as I said, I cried during the anthem at Canada Day. But so I made the team. The other goalie that made the team was Joe Leduc. He's a Quebec goalie, quite a few years older than me. I might say almost 10 years older than me. He might be. I don't know his exact age. But let's, for the sake of the story and the link back to the practice a couple weeks ago, let's say he was 10 years older than me. So coming up in the sport in Alberta, your main rival is Quebec. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like nowadays, Saskatchewan is getting to be a strong opponent, but coming up, it was Alberta, Quebec. Now it's either one Quebec team, 3 Quebec teams, but it was always Alberta versus Quebec, 1, 2, or 3, or all 3, or whatever. Alberta, you had to win those games. And for me coming up, I played with several different goalies, but it was always across. The guy I looked up to, the guy I had to beat, was Joe. So for years, I would see what he did, and he's quicker. He's quicker than me. I'm taller than him, so our sizes and styles aren't the same, but I'd see what he would do in games. I'd be like, That's the guy. If I want to get to the top, I got to pass that guy. And that's what I set my sights on. So I've worked, I trained, I watched the other goalies, I listened to all the goalies, and I can't stress this enough for the young goalies coming up. Was something that I adapted and put into my game coming up as a young goalie was not everything a coach tells you you're going to implement during a game. You might not even use it ever again. But I implore you to just listen, try it, no matter what weird thing it is. If it's swinging your hips to the side and you just kind of scooch across, or if it's chasing badminton birdies across a gym in St. Albert or McNally. No matter how ridiculous it seems, try everything that these coaches tell you. Just try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But work with open eyes. For me, I've always felt that my fast break passes have been one of my strengths. And I felt one of the moments that changed it was that we were doing a drill with the national team where it was very spiritual, but you had to close your eyes and feel where you think the guy's going to be and throw the pass. And for some reason, I could feel these players running even though they're 30 meters away. And I felt like, oh, this is ridiculous. Like, what the hell is this? I'm not going to close my eyes when I pass in a game. What the hell does that mean? But I felt like that benefited me in the long run. Just these weird drills. As a young goalie, if you're listening, or if you're a coach or whatever, cut this excerpt out. Show these punk kids, hey, it might not seem essential to you at the time, but just listen. Anywho, I keep rambling, and I'm sorry about that. Back to the main part. So Joe was the guy I always looked up to. Joe was the guy I felt I always had to surpass if I wanted to be anything with the national team. I had to be at his level, and then I wanted to get above it. And I don't know if I ever did. That's for outside sources to do. But I'm pretty happy with the goalie I've become. Anywho, the most unforgettable moment for me ever in handball was I'm playing in the Pan Am Games. My goalie partner is Joe, the guy I've looked up to as a rival and as a role model, and a guy I emulated, I wanted to be. So it's myself and Joe at the Pan Am Games. And we go into the last game of the tournament, and it was going to be his retirement game from the national team. So coach came up to me before the game, and he said, Lyndon, this is Joe's last game. He's going to play it. And I said, 100%, you're not going to hear an argument from me. I understand it. It was the last game of the tournament. We were just in a placement game. It wasn't like a medal or something. So I'm like, yeah, 100%. This guy's paid his dues and he's done his time and he's worked for it. Let's give him a proper send off. So Joe plays the game, and then with 2 minutes left in the game, our coach JF calls a sub. He says, Joe, come off. And sometimes I'm not going to get emotional. I feel tough as nails. You're getting emotional. No, sometimes when I tell this story, I do get emotional. But so, anywho, 2 minutes left in the game, last game of the tournament, Pan Am Games. I'm playing with the guy I've wanted to challenge for years. Coach takes him off, and he gets a standing ovation from the crowd. There's friends and family from Quebec and throughout the sport who know him. They know the situation, and he gets a standing ovation. Comes off the court. I go in. Last 2 minutes, I don't even know what happened. Like, I was so caught up in the moment. The last 2 minutes of the game, I don't even know what happened. So the game ends. That was the last moment for Joe with the national team. And then at the end of the game, I go up to him, I give him a hug, I say, congrats, man, it's been a hell of a time, like a hell of a career. And I say, like, thanks for everything. You're a legend out here. And he says, thank you, Lyndon. And then he tells me, and this is the most unforgettable moment in my entire handball career right here. I'm glad you've waited 20 minutes to hear it. He tells me, it's your team now. It's your team now. And those few words meant so much to me. And they still do. And I still can feel myself in that moment. And he gave me a hug and said, it's your team now. And to this day, every game I play with the national team, no matter who's on my team, no matter who's coaching, I wear it with a badge of honor because of those words. It's your team now. So going back to the guy who asked, how does it feel to be 10 years older than the rest of us? Well, feels pretty good. And I'm hoping maybe one day I could share a moment like that with a young player coming up. And then I can pass it to him and say, hey, it's your team now. I love it. Some people don't understand sport unless you're in it, and this was incredible. That was the most unforgettable moment in my handball career. So moving forward, in the coming episodes, I hope to have some people on. I appreciate you listening if you got this far. I hope you got this far because I was teasing what the most unforgettable moment in my handball career was this whole time. I hope you were there. I hope you liked it. It's your team now, man. That was it. I've been playing for, 14 years? All over the world, and that was the most unforgettable moment in my career, and I hope maybe I can pass it on to the next generation. With that said, again, thank you. As I was saying before, in the next few episodes, I hope to have a chat with some friends, and we'll share some stories and go from there. But in the meantime, I appreciate you listening. This has been the Always Moving Podcast, episode number 3. I'm your host, Lyndon Suvanto. Let's keep this thing moving.